Hello everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I was going to do a blind date with a book. I have somehow lost the footage of me actually unboxing the blind date with a book, which I think was the best reaction to this book. So instead, we're gonna talk about it. It's not exactly the video that I wanted to do today, but yeah, so I picked up a blind date with a book during my South Sound book crawl. I'll leave it linked down below. And the caption that was on the front of this was the unexpected whiplash that comes from going sideways. This was listed as a science fiction book. I think we had some extra information about it on the back. It says, many plots are based on a what if premise. What if a thing happened that couldn't possibly happen? Or what if a thing didn't happen? Or what if someone presented you with an impossible truth? But if you were to believe it, then you would have to embrace the crazy. And are you really willing to do that? This book has that sideways element to it. The world isn't quite the way it should be, and we're going to explore this difference. Hold on tight, strap on a helmet, watch out for whiplash. And I think the best way to do this is actually just to leave the clip in from the South Sound book crawl of where I read the back of this, because they had a little explanation on the back. I did not think it was necessarily specific enough where you could guess the book. Because sometimes I've seen blind dates with a book that are like, oh, it's romance and here's the different tropes, and based on what the tropes are, you can sometimes guess what book you're going to get. I was unable to guess what book I was going to get because that was all they gave us. Unexpected whiplash that comes from going sideways. And so obviously from this, all I got was that something is going to happen that was not supposed to happen, you know, that kind of thing. I unboxed the book, or I unwrapped the book, I should say, and this is what I got. The Mirage by Matt Ruff. I have never heard of this before. I do like the idea that I had never heard of this before. Never in my life. I will say, based on what's on here, and I'll read the back so you guys can see, I don't know if I would actually classify this as sci-fi. It is an alternate reality, and maybe they have something different that actually brings it more into the sci-fi space, but I don't think this is something that I would necessarily find in the sci-fi section of a bookstore. Based on the publisher being Harper Perennial and that kind of stuff, I feel like this would be more in literary fiction. I could be wrong, because obviously I did not find it in a specific section in the bookstore. It was listed as sci-fi. Some of the different sites that you pull up, like Goodreads and Amazon and Barnes & Noble and that kind of stuff, do have sci-fi as one of the things, but not the main thing necessarily. So for me, I'm questioning the sci-fi nature of this. So basically, on the back, it says 11/9/2001. Christian fundamentalists hijack 4 jetliners. They fly 2 into the Tigris and Euphrates World Trade Towers in Baghdad and a 3rd into the Arab Defense Ministry in Riyadh. The 4th plane, believed to be bound for Mecca, is brought down by its passengers. The United Arab States declares a war on terror. Arabian and Persian troops invade the eastern seaboard and establish a green zone in Washington, D.C. Summer 2009. Arab Homeland Security agent Mustafa al-Baghdadi interrogates a captured suicide bomber. The prisoner claims that the world they are living in is a mirage. In the real world, America is a superpower and the Arab states are just a collection of backward third world countries. Other captured terrorists have been telling the same story. The gangster Saddam Hussein is conducting his own investigation, and the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, a war hero named Osama bin Laden, will stop at nothing to hide the truth. As Mustafa and his colleagues venture deeper into the unsettling world of terrorism, politics, and espionage, they are confronted with questions without any rational answers and the terrifying possibility that their world is not what it seems. So, okay, again, alternate reality where the United States / Christians are the bad guys in 9/11. It is now 11/9, November 9th instead. And it's like everything is swapped. This is a book I would never pick up in a million years. None of that sounds interesting to me. I will say I attempted to read this. I got 30 something pages in, and not only do they have that sort of premise, I got through the very beginning of it. We're getting introduced to some of the characters, but it's just the whole politics, war, all this kind of stuff, I do not read those books. That is not something that I would read. The fact that I went into this expecting whiplash and potentially alternate realities, which I guess it is, but I was expecting more sci-fi. Like, to me, this does not read sci-fi. In the 30-something pages that I read, we do get introduced to the United Arab States, and their mayor from one of the cities or something like that is like on a talk show, and people are being a little bit misogynistic. And then we go to somebody that's trying to smuggle in hard liquor, and they're blaming the Jews for it. So we have a little bit of anti-Semitism. We have some homophobia with them talking to this guy that's trying to smuggle in liquor and saying like, hey, you're gonna go away for life and you have really pretty eyes, and those people there are gonna love your pretty eyes. And I'm just like, there's a little bit of like stuff in here that is problematic, I definitely feel like. But then the whole premise of the actual story, like, I don't care. We've also had some information, like, it's from like the Library of Alexandria, but it feels more like it's supposed to be like Wikipedia sort of stuff. And it goes into this alternate reality of history, and I hate history. I was never good at like pulling that kind of stuff up. So even though I know it's not real, I can't necessarily tell the difference from one to the other. Like, this is not the book for me. This is not what I went in expecting. I was so confused by this when I first was reading the back, because of the fact that it says 11/9/2001, and so, but the fact that it's supposed to be in the United Arab States, I was like, so is it September 11th or is it November 9th? Like, the numbers, you know, like, us in the United States, we do things differently because we do the month first. So the fact that they did put the month first, like, I know they were probably doing it for an American audience. It confused me at first, and I do not care about this story. I don't like the idea of switching things around, and I think it's mostly just because of the plot line. Like, if this was something different, like, I read that YA that was like, what if George Washington was actually a king instead of a president? And so, like, we're now in the future where everybody's in this monarchy instead of a democratic republic. Sure, great. We weren't dealing with war and suicide bombers and things like that, and I just really I don't care enough to finish and see if this actually is more sci-fi, because it does mention the fact that the suicide bombers, the Christian suicide bombers, keep saying they're from a powerful country. The United States is supposed to be this powerful country, and the United Arab States, Baghdad and stuff, is a third world country. Like, I don't care to get into the why did things divert from reality, you know what I mean? I was hoping for more. I really, really was. And I was hoping to give you a better video because I had a better reaction to this when I first unwrapped it. However, like I said, I somehow deleted it, I'm assuming. I filmed the unboxing of this middle of May, and since then I have not wanted to pick this up at all, because this is not my thing. I'm going to be putting it in my stats as a DNF because I did try this, but I know it's purely not for me. There might be people that like this, but I didn't like all the little microaggressions basically that I read in this, but at the same time, I know I would never personally pick this up, which is why I ended up getting it as like a $10 blind date with a book, when it's normally $17, but also it is marked on the top. So this was an overstock from something. They probably got it for cheaper than $10. It is definitely 100% not for me. I tried my best, but I am not forcing my way through this. I just don't care about it. And this is probably the best video you guys are gonna get on this. I was really hoping to do something else today, but we're almost at the very end of school for Presley. This is his last week of school, and he had a little awards assembly today. Because he got the accountability award for his kindergarten class. They talked about what their different core values there mean. His school, his mascot is the wolves. So they have PAC, where P is for perseverance, A is for accountability, which is the one that he got, C is for constantly growing, and K is for being kind. And they had examples of how they wanted these kids to behave during the assembly with these 3 letters. So P, they wanted them to be patient, show a sportsmanship attitude, avoid and ignore distractions. For A, they wanted to have a respectful voice level, respectful celebrations, sitting so that all can see, being respectful of others, following teacher expectations. For C, it was to be a leader, set an example, and striving for your best. And for K, it was be a good citizen, be respectful of the presenter, mindful of your body and space, and participate appropriately. They explain these to the kids, but they've been having these little assemblies. Apparently this is the third time for the year, and it was just super, super cute because he has been very much like into school, wanting to do the best he can be, and being very accountable with his actions and stuff like that. And apparently that was something that the teacher had noticed as well and wanted him to get an award for. He was very, very excited that we were there. He has a half day today, which means I actually need to go get ready to get him soon. But he saw us and was telling all his friends that my family's here, and he was just very, very excited because he didn't know we were there. It was supposed to be a surprise. But because of that, I had to go and do that at school this morning, and then we came back home and I knew I needed to film something. And like I said, I've been really, really putting this off. I tried like 30 something pages and I just can't make myself pick this up anymore because of the content. Like, I just don't care about the politics and the war, and even though they have it switched on its head, I just don't really care. So I am gonna have to go get ready to go get him soon. And I just decided, yeah, I'm done. I don't really care about this. I knew that was probably going to be the case when I unboxed it. Like, I was just hoping for more sci-fi. There was other sci-fi things I could have picked, but I was curious about the whiplash that comes from going sideways. And I just don't think this is going to deliver that for me personally. So I do have another DNF. I haven't DNF'd stuff in a couple months. And I knew it was probably going to be. I was hoping for more. Like I said, I was just really, really hoping, but I don't have time to force my way through this, and I just really don't want to. We're not forcing ourselves to read things that we don't want to, right? So maybe somebody else that watches this here would be curious about this, and maybe they want to try, but this is not my thing. So while I would have liked to have a better video and an actual vlog for you, I lost my footage, and so I'm very, very sorry about that. But this is what we have today. I'm DNFing a book. I mean, I guess it comes off my TBR that way, so that's great. So that is going to be it for me today. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye!